afterwards, then I started branching out into other martial arts forms. I got curious about the self-defense aspect of martial arts, because Taekwondo and with all sport martial arts, to some extent, they lose some of that self-defense aspect, and they start to become more of a sport, which is fine, and that's fair, especially because when we play sport, we have to practice being safe, right? And so self-defense sort of goes back to the other techniques that may have been, taken out because we need to focus on that safety, right? So then I started studying with many instructors in the Bay Area. I'd moved up here for college and was going to San Francisco State University. And and then I found just a whole bunch of amazing instructors, which was wild. I knew San Francisco was a big place for martial arts. Obviously, Bruce Lee was born here. We have many hodgepodge of cultures and communities who live here, right? So this was, for a long time, a thriving place for martial artists to come and host seminars. A few notable instructors that we had in the Bay Area, we had a Professor Wally J, who was based in Oakland, and a lot of these schools have been around since the 60s. So that San Francisco State University is where I found my Tai Chi instructor. And I had never really liked Tai Chi. It was sort of one of my least favorite martial arts because, it's just, for me, there was a lot of hoaxes, I think, that surrounded it. And I never really liked, some people's interpretation of chi and energy. Because I think depending on the person, they can give you like a really biased view, and there's all these seminars where you would have like a grandmaster who's like master of the art of manipulating chi, and and a lot of it was people who were setting people up to swindle and just create this whole thing, like imaginary power thing, right? And so I didn't really like it because of that, and then I also didn't see a lot of the martial aspect in it. So it was really interesting when I went to her class, because I had taken many different forms of martial arts. When I was doing the movements, I was like, I saw some of the applications of, I can see how this movement translates to this, and I understand how this and then and the whole form just made sense to me, which was really unique, because I think a lot of martial arts can be defined in what they call forms, which are basically like choreographed movements, almost like dance, and these choreographed movements are handed down from family to family, right? So karate, taekwondo, all martial arts forms typically have some kind of form or like a set basic movements that the martial arts is based on, right? So whether it's like a large stance and then you do like high punches, or maybe it's a narrow stance and you focus on like vertical punches like Wing Chun, there will often be a set form, a choreographed form that you practice on your own, but then also, maybe, you'll have your practice sparring sessions with like your other people, right? Where you can kind of put that form techniques to itself, to its test. So anyway, so Tai Chi, I realized, was really more about the form rather than, sort of that, what I used to think, like the chi, manipulation of chi energy and things like that. So I really enjoyed the way that Simu Kuo talked about it, right? And so that sort of started my journey there with her.